Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The chairman of the occasion, the keynote speaker, the vice president of the institute, the past president, Mr. Akim Okuniran, our keynote speakers and discussants, council members here present, fellow charter secretaries, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to welcome you to the 44th annual conference of our institute, which is an important event in the calendar of our great institute. We have over the years employed annual conference as an opportunity to address some critical national issues of importance that require solutions which we are duty bound to profile. Before I go on, let me just say a few words about our institute. ICSAN is a leading successfully established professional body dedicated to the enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. Although ICSAN started in Nigeria in 1944, it elected its first vice president in 1966, and it was granted a charter in 1991. ICSAN is a member of the Corporate Secretaries International Association and also a member of the Africa Corporate Governance Network, which are associations dedicated to enhancing corporate governance practices. For the past 54 years that we have been in existence, we have regularly produced seasoned professionals who have contributed their quota to the nation's economic advancement. Many of our members are at present occupying various key positions. At ICSAN, we are fully aware of the responsibility that devolves on us as the champion of corporate governance and always strive to seize every opportunity to point out the way good corporate governance can be employed. The theme of the 2020 annual conference is entrenching the right governance framework for economic development and sustainability. The theme is apt as it reflects the realities that the nation's economy is undeniably challenged on many fronts, with many concerned stakeholders already being apprehensive that we might enter into another recession. Not only has our social economic enterprises suffered its fair share of the debilitating effect of COVID-19 pandemic, the locally brewed EndSARS protest, which began as a peaceful protest, but later snowballed into violence when hijacked by hoodlums, has aggravated the problem with the destruction of valuable assets and infrastructure worth trillions of naira. At the moment, we are experiencing shrinking of social economic enterprises, rising inflation, falling value of money, low capacity utilization in the risk sector, retrenchment, etc. All these are aggravating our already very challenging rate of unemployment and the negative economic indices affecting national growth. Therefore, this year's conference has ably brought to the front burner the imperative of creatively exploring all avenues for finding solutions to the nation's socio-economic regression through the right governance framework. At least, we all know that the purpose of corporate governance is to facilitate entrepreneurial and prudent management that can deliver the long-term success of the company, which by extension can also serve as a springboard for national renaissance. The theme is interesting because it suggests unequivocally that there is a connection between governance and economic development and sustainability, and that the only missing link is to find the right governance framework. It is this missing link that all our resource persons and of course our informed participants will seek to find by brainstorming for the next few hours. In many companies, people work from home rather than being physically in the office. Even in some enterprises, human beings are being replaced with robots. The enhanced development of artificial intelligence also shows that the workplace is gradually changing from what it once was. Very few things remain the same. It is the cumulative effect of all the changes and the ways they have affected the world that people now refer to as a new normal. However, what it entails is not foreclosed. It is just unfolding as the world responds in numerous ways to the challenges brought about by COVID-19 pandemic. Thus, we all need to get acquainted with the new ways of doing things, which must be in consonance with the corporate governance principles. The second sub-theme is on digitalization and cybercrime security impacts on businesses. The third theme is the revival of the revised Companies and Life Matters Act 2020, opportunities for company secretary who provide deep knowledge and insight into new law, which charter secretary and other professionals in governance must give due attention. We have already established the tradition of bringing highly experienced, accomplished, and seasoned professionals as resource persons to our programs. All our speakers are authorities in their fields, and they will engage the topic with dexterity and proficiency one can only expect from reputable professionals. I'm therefore confident that with the assemblage of these highly skilled resource persons, we will have intellectually stimulating, critically engaging, and enjoyable moments together in the next few hours. Let me assure you that the observations and recommendations in our discourse today will be developed into a communique by our seasoned rapporteur and circulated to relevant authorities, policymakers, and stakeholders to assist in guiding policy formulation and implementation. The generality of the public will also have access to it through the national dailies. Now we go to the next point, that is corporate governance platform on MITV. To enlighten the public on the provisions of the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018 and the benefits of the entrenchment of best corporate governance practices to businesses, ICSAN started the corporate governance platform on MITV, which can be accessed on DSTV 255 and UHF 43, which runs every Thursday between 4:30 and 5 p.m. This is in addition to our ongoing radio program on ECO 89.7 FM every Wednesday between 10:15 and 10:30. So it means that all of us can tune into MITV today between 4:30 and 5 o'clock to get another good news regarding corporate governance. Now, concerns on the Finance Bill 2021. I cannot end this address without commenting on the controversial Section 39 of the Finance Bill 2021, with a proposal by the government to take over the management of unclaimed dividends of public listed companies, based on several calls received from critical stakeholders in the capital market. We as an institute must make our comments known. This is proposed, the trust fund is proposed to be done through the establishment of a trust as a sub-trust of the COVID-19 Crisis Intervention Fund, to be known as Unclaimed Dividend Trust Fund. We are expressing our views on it because ICSAN is the hub of governance professionals and must always play its leading role on issues relating to corporate governance in Nigeria. It should be noted that Principle 23 of the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018 provides for the protection of shareholders' rights. And the right to dividend by the shareholder is one of the rights that companies and stakeholders must protect. The bill, that is the Finance Bill 2021, provides that any unclaimed dividend of public listed companies that remain unclaimed for 3 years after declaration shall be transferred immediately to the Unclaimed Dividend Trust Fund, either by the company or the registrar. 2, the trust fund shall be governed by the Governing Council, chaired by the Minister of Finance, and co-chairperson appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Minister of Finance. 3, the Secretariat of the Fund shall be in the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation through the Debt Management Office, DMO, and the Accountant General of the Federation and the DG of the DMO shall operate the fund with the CBN. 4, public listed companies shall render returns as on unclaimed dividend to the Accountant General of the Federation. 5, all unclaimed dividends of more than 12 years shall lapse into government revenue and shall be transferred from the trust fund to the Federation account as Federation revenue. 6, subject to the approval of the Finance Minister on the recommendation of the Accountant General, unclaimed dividends that have not lapsed into the revenue of the government shall be paid to the rightful owners. 7, the Auditor General shall audit the fund. 8, any company that fails to transfer its unclaimed dividend to the trust fund commits an offense and liable to fine 5 times the value of the unclaimed dividend with accumulated interest at the monetary policy rate of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Next point on the bill is Section 39 of the bill overrides Section 429 and 432 of the Companies and Land Matters Act 2020, authorizing company declaring the dividend to invest it outside its business after 3 months of publication of the unclaimed dividend, that is, after 15 months of declaration, and to add same to the profits to be distributed to shareholders after 12 years of declaration. For us as governance professionals, below are the questions that those proposing the takeover of unclaimed dividend should answer based on the concerns raised by shareholders and companies. 1, why are there no provisions in the Finance Bill 2021 on how to reduce unclaimed dividends to solve the problem permanently, instead of the interest only in the takeover of unclaimed dividend by the government? 2, why is it that the government, which has already collected companies' income tax of 30%, education trust fund of 2% from the profit of each company before dividend was declared, in addition to another 10% withholding tax from such dividend, is still interested in taking over unclaimed dividend, notwithstanding that it did not invest in the shares of any public listed company generating this unclaimed dividend? 3, at the public consultation organized by KPMG on behalf of the Finance Minister on November 13, 2020, the authorities pushing for the takeover of unclaimed dividend stated that the provision in KAMA 2020 authorizing companies to write back unclaimed dividend after 12 years is an infringement of the constitutional right to property of shareholders. Then, is the provision in Section 39 of the Finance Bill 2021 stating that all unclaimed dividends of more than 12 years shall lapse into government revenue and shall be transferred from the trust fund to the federation account as federation revenue, not an infringement of the constitutional right to property of the shareholders? 4, if the desire of the government is to make unclaimed dividend available to shareholders indefinitely, why can't Section 39 just state that unclaimed dividends shall be accessible to shareholders indefinitely and shall not be forfeited by company after 12 years, as stated in KAMA 2020? 5, is it not better, as currently provided in KAMA 2020, for companies that declare the dividend to first invest the unclaimed dividend outside their operation after 15 months and plow them back into the business after 12 years in the interest of the companies and shareholders, instead of the proposed takeover of the private funds by the government? 6, will the Accountant General of the Federation now be the registrar to listed companies to process unclaimed dividends? And how would the Accountant General get information about shareholders in order to confirm the rightful owners entitled to the unclaimed dividend? Is the Accountant General not another bottleneck that will compound the problem of unclaimed dividends in Nigeria? 7, is the role of Securities and Exchange Commission to be taken over by the Accountant General as companies are now required to send returns on unclaimed dividend to the Accountant General's office? 8, who bears the expenses of the trust fund? Government or the unclaimed dividend trust fund to be taken over by the government? Who gets the interest on the fund, the unclaimed dividend that is now to be warehoused by the government? The companies or the government? 9, will Section 39 not be a big disincentive to listing on the Nigerian Stock Exchange by companies and constrain those already listed to delist, since the bill targets listed companies? Even if Section 39 extends to all public companies, would they not be compelled to re-register as private companies, as recently done by some big public companies, in order to avoid the takeover of their claimed dividends, which are private funds? 10, will Section 39 of the Finance Bill not cripple the capital market that is just trying to recover from the impact of COVID-19. We hereby make the following recommendations. Government should expunge Section 39 of the Finance Bill 2021, proposing to take over unclaimed dividends of public listed companies. B, government should focus on addressing the root causes of unclaimed dividends by requesting the various state governments to review their complex, unfair, and exploitative probate process, arbitrary valuation of assets of deceased, leading to compromise by probate officials, high estate duty of 10% before collecting probate or letters of administration, which dependents of deceased are compelled to pay, notwithstanding that probate or letters of administration are just change of name and not sale of assets of the deceased. They should fix a time frame of maximum of 2 months for issuance of probate after receipt of complete documentation by the probate registry of each state to enable their unclaimed dividend in order to reduce their hardship. We also recommend that you request the Securities and Exchange Commission to further simplify the procedure for assessing unclaimed dividend by the shareholders, such that one form can be used by affected shareholders to assess all unclaimed dividends in PSCs, instead of filling a form for each registrar, and the registrars are to conclude the request received with complete documentation within a maximum period of 3 days. Figure 3, allow existing shareholders to update their information by nominating default beneficiaries with bank account numbers that dividends should be paid in case of death or disability of the shareholders. And also include a section in the new share application form, whether through the primary market or through the secondary market, and also account opening form, CSCS account opening form, an opportunity for every investor to nominate a default beneficiaries that dividends should be paid in case of death. Government should replace Section 39 of the Finance Bill with a provision that unclaimed dividends shall be accessible to shareholders indefinitely and shall not be forfeited by any company after 12 years, but to be kept by the companies as stated in Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. This is because companies have contractual responsibility to pay shareholders their dividend, and this bill has the implication of inducing the breach of such contracts. To ensure the safety of unclaimed dividend so that they can be accessed by shareholders indefinitely, we recommend that shareholders should be mandated, we recommend that companies should be mandated to invest unclaimed dividends only in government securities, gilt-edged securities. Also, we recommend that unclaimed dividends should not be transferred from the custody of companies that declare them to any institution, whether private or public, corporate or individual, local or international. The next step by ICSAN on this issue. Due to the controversy generated by Section 39 of the Finance Bill 2021 on unclaimed dividends and its implication on corporate governance, ICSAN will devote the next episode of the corporate governance platform on NITV, on DSTV 255 and UHF 43 on Thursday, November 26, next Thursday, 2020 at 4:30 p.m. to discuss this matter. I request you to join. As usual, we will forward our position paper to relevant authorities so that they can consider the implication of the proposal of the government to take over unclaimed dividend, and in order to ensure that we do not create problem for the capital market and discourage investors. Once again, I welcome you to the ICSAN 2020 annual conference and wish you a fruitful and successful deliberation. Thank you.